Welcome to the Explainer. If you were to compress the entire history of the Earth into a single 24-hour day, human civilization literally doesn't even show up until the very last few seconds. Today, we're zooming in on those explosive final seconds. We're going to dive into exactly how diverse, incredibly complex societies emerged from nothing but primitive settlements along major river valleys. It's a story of human ingenuity, raw survival, and unparalleled innovation, and we are going to break it all down for you. Here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the dawn of cities, then jump over to Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt, followed by the Indus Valley and early China. After that, we'll map out the web of ancient trade, look at the absolute game changer that was the rise of writing, and finally wrap up with the lasting legacy of these first urban centers.
All right, Section 1, the dawn of cities, from nomads to settlements.
So to set the stage here, the complex, fast-paced societies we navigate every single day, they definitely didn't just magically appear out of thin air. It was an incredibly slow, awe-inspiring process. Think about it. Roughly 10,000 years ago, humans were just starting to form early farming communities, finally transitioning away from purely nomadic hunting and gathering. And this was a massive shift, right? Because staying in one place meant you literally had to master your environment. Fast forward 2,000 years, permanent settlements take root. By 5,000 years ago, we see highly organized towns, which then evolved into those incredibly complex states around 3,000 years ago. It's just this staggering staircase of human progress. And look, this wasn't some overnight phenomenon, and it definitely didn't happen in just one single place. The absolute foundation for humanity's greatest experiment was early farming and animal domestication. Because here's the fascinating reality. Agriculture created something early humans had never really dealt with before, a massive food surplus. When you actually have extra food laying around, well, not everybody has to spend all day hunting. People could suddenly specialize. You get builders, priests, artisans. Driven by these new agricultural techniques, evolving social structures, and early tech like stone tools and pottery, human beings slowly started gathering together, staying put, and, quite literally, building the future. Moving into Section 2, Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt, the Western cradles. Okay, let's unroll our map and travel over to the ancient Near East to explore two massive early epicenters of humanity. First up, Mesopotamia. Nestled right there in the land between two mighty rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates, this spot is widely regarded as humanity's very first center of urban civilization. This is where Sumerian settlements just absolutely blossomed into bustling cities. And what really stands out structurally? They're monumental mud brick ziggurats. Just imagine these massive artificial mountains built entirely out of earth, towering over a completely flat landscape. And down below these step temple complexes, you had this sprawling network of irrigation canals and merchants trading goods. It was an absolute masterpiece of early administration and statecraft. Now, just to the west, we have ancient Egypt. But unlike the mud brick vibe of Mesopotamia, early dynastic Egypt expanded using massive royal stone architecture. And this difference? It was heavily influenced by their environment. The Nile River flooded with remarkable predictability, which actually gave ancient Egyptians a much more optimistic worldview and a far more stable foundation compared to the highly volatile rivers of Mesopotamia. Craftsmen and workers there used absolutely brilliant, meticulously coordinated methods to move those colossal stone blocks. They navigated the river using specialized reed boats and decorated their enduring monuments with beautiful early hieroglyphic inscriptions. So a completely different aesthetic and environment, but equally sophisticated. That brings us to Section 3, Indus Valley and early China, the Eastern centers. Continuing our journey eastward, we uncover two more independent and incredibly sophisticated pockets of civilization, and this brilliantly illustrates just how diverse human innovation really is. Over in the Indus Valley, Bronze Age cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro had carefully planned grid streets and covered drainage systems. I mean, they were centuries ahead of their time. They literally had brick courtyard homes with indoor plumbing, a total marvel of ancient urban planning. Meanwhile, developing along the Yellow River, early China utilized completely different methods. They built heavily fortified settlements out of rammed earth. Plus, they were mastering incredibly advanced bronze craftsmanship, creating these stunning ritual vessels that would have been beautifully illuminated by firelight during early dynastic ceremonies. Two distinct regions arriving at completely different yet totally ingenious approaches to building a civilization. Let's look at Section 4, the web of ancient trade, connecting the cradles. Now here's the thing. These seemingly isolated river valleys, they didn't stay disconnected for long. As societies grew, so did their needs and their desires. Merchants actually started braving vast, unforgiving deserts, winding river routes, and treacherous mountain passes to form this massive web of exchange. And what was driving all this? The deep human desire for life-sustaining grain, crafted pottery, valuable metals, woven textiles, and exotic spices. I mean, just think about the sheer bravery it took to load up a caravan and walk into the total unknown just to secure some precious blue lapis lazuli stone or a new type of grain. This was the true dawn of global commerce, linking Mesopotamia, Egypt, the Indus Valley, and China together in this ancient, vital, and surprisingly robust network. When we take a step back and really synthesize our grand tour, we see exactly how each unique culture contributed distinct milestones to the ancient world. We've got our geographic anchors, the river systems, right next to incredible, distinct architectural achievements. Everything from mud brick ziggurats and monumental stone to planned brick streets and rammed earth walls. But honestly, the most striking parallel among all these cultures is how they each independently developed a writing system. Whether we're talking cuneiform, hieroglyphs, Indus seals, or oracle bones, the pressing need to communicate complex ideas led directly to one of the most important developments in all of human history. Which leads us perfectly into Section 5, the rise of writing, the power of the pen. This right here is perhaps the most profound human milestone of all, the ability to record information, manage complex trade, and pass down history. Now, because we so often think of human progress as a linear relay race, it is completely natural to wonder, did the invention of writing just start in one place and get passed from one society to the next? Like, did one genius inventor figure it all out and just hand the blueprint over to their trading partners? Well, the answer is a definitive no. Writing brilliantly emerged independently across these cultures. It was heavily influenced by their specific environments, and surprisingly, it was almost always invented for the exact same reason: accounting. Yeah, kings and merchants just needed a foolproof way to track grain, taxes, and trade. In Mesopotamia, scribes used the abundant river clay, pressing reed styluses into it to create wedge-shaped cuneiform tablets. In Egypt, artisans meticulously carved hieroglyphs into monumental stone. The Indus Valley developed completely unique seals featuring intricate, unbroken motifs. And in early China, we see the flicker of torchlight over animal bones and turtle shells, with oracle bone writing used primarily for divination. Every single civilization faced the complex challenge of administration and history-keeping, and every single one arrived at their own brilliant solution. Finally, Section 6, the legacy of civilization, how cities changed us. As we bring this explainer to a close, I want you to consider this massive paradigm shift. Transforming from a basic agricultural settlement into a highly complex state completely altered how humans lived. The mere invention of the city created entirely new ways to govern. We got massive centralized markets for trade, specialized workshops for artisans, grand religious centers, and complexly organized social classes. It fundamentally changed the psychological and social fabric of human existence forever. When archaeologists uncover clay tablets, deep foundations, and ancient tools today, they aren't just looking at collections of dusty ruins. Not at all. These ancient centers were humanity's absolute earliest experiments with government, engineering, and organized society. These people literally figured out how to irrigate vast tracts of land, build towering structures toward the sky, codify written laws, and somehow live together in massive, unprecedented numbers. They wrote the absolute blueprint for the modern, fast-paced world we inhabit right now. So I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to ponder. How much of our modern daily lives is still built directly on the foundations of humanity's greatest ancient experiment? Tomorrow, as you walk the carefully planned streets of your own city, or navigate your bustling local markets, or even just type a quick message on your phone, ask yourself, how much of our present is really just an echo of this awe-inspiring past? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.